I'm going to show you 2 ways to create this little organizer shelf. So to start with, all I do is take one of the white tall decor frames from Dollar Tree and I scrape the letters off the back of them with a box blade. And then I grab one of the white shelf racks from the kitchen section of Dollar Tree. And as it turns out, these fit really, really well together. So the rack is a teeny tiny bit bigger than the frames, which is great because it fits super snug and super tight inside the back of the white frames. It fits so good that you actually do not need glue to hold this in place. You physically have to remove the rack once it's in there. So just make sure it's centered, and you also need to take off the little rubber feet off the legs so that they'll fit. I used a pair of pliers and sometimes I could use my hands. So after my rack is inside of the frame, I flip one of them upside down, just flip one of the frames upside down, and I'm just going to use this as the bottom or the base of it. And depending on what kind of traffic you will have around this shelf, you may want to add glue, a permanent glue with these, but nonetheless, you just keep stacking them to the top on top of each other. And you can even make these into cute little sections, or just have one tall one. And you can also take a piece of foam board, cut it to fit inside the back of the frame, and then place your rack on the inside. And you can also add like a mirror between the glass and the foam, glitter, wood contact paper, even pictures. So you can decorate it obviously any way you want to. Now, if your Dollar Tree doesn't have these little shelf racks, then you can do it this way. I glued 3 of the wooden blocks together. I haven't been able to find the wooden blocks from my Dollar Tree, so I purchased some larger blocks at Five Below. And I used wood glue to glue 3 of the blocks together for my legs back to back, and I wrap them up with a rubber band, and once they're dry, I paint them white. Then I start with the foam board piece in the back of the white frame, and I glue the legs on the back of that with hot glue. So for this, hot glue is perfect because it sticks amazing. I tested it out and shook it and it was totally fine. If you want to leave the foam board out of the glass, then you need to use a clear adhesive or a permanent glue, because the hot glue does not stick well to the glass. It'll just come apart and you'll have to keep redoing it. So the front of the frames are thicker than the back of the frames, so they take up more of the glass surface. I had already glued the legs on this frame to the back, so to line it up straight where it'll fit inside the front, I had to take a craft stick and I cut that up into 5 little pieces, and I simply glued the little craft stick pieces together, painted them white to match, and then I placed them in each corner. And then I glue my legs on the front of the frame. Now these legs are partially on the facing of the frame, and the other part of the legs are hanging off. So that's why you want to get a little wood wedge to fully support it. Other shelves are glued glass to glass because I started with the legs already glued to the front. So when I glued them to the back, they're already lined up on the back. The front is where you want to start, unless you want to make the little wood chips. So I just keep stacking them. Oh, and I flip the unit over and I grab a push light. Now this one is from Dollar Tree. I just peel the little sticker off, stick it right to the top of the frame or to the one that has the foam board. And this is the final result of both versions. I think it's just a little darling shelf. It's super easy to do. I hope you enjoyed this DIY project. I'll see you in the next DIY. Till next time, happy crafting, my friend.